to welcome all our clients from all around the world who's joining us on this virtual safari this afternoon with Shamwari Game Reserve. Probably, well, the premier private game reserve in the Eastern Cape. And I actually had the privilege to visit them in December and actually saw their new lodges before it even opened. So yeah, this brings a lot of memories back for me, and I can't wait to go on the virtual safari and relive those memories, and also give Shamwari the opportunity to just show you a little bit more. I would like to hand over to Theo Cromhout now, who's the GM of Hospitality at Shamwari. And many of you would know him from his many years in the industry, and a perfect host, and definitely helped to raise the bar in terms of hospitality at Shamwari Game Reserve. They did brilliant stuff on the menus and on the hospitality side and everything when I visited. So yeah, over to Theo. Thanks for this opportunity that we can join you and give all our clients the opportunity to experience Shamwari firsthand.
Thank you very much, Johan and Peter. We're very, very grateful for the opportunity. It's as I was saying to you before the Zoom call started, it's so surreal. We've been now in lockdown for over 2 months, and there's 30 of us that have been on lockdown in the middle of the reserve, which has actually been a blessing, because I think there's many people around the world that aren't as fortunate as we are. So I've got our head chef of Longley Manor. He's on camera filming me, and we're not wearing face masks because we've been in isolation together for the last 2 months. So we ditched the face masks, but I just wanted to give credit to Richard because he's on the camera. But yeah, it has been surreal, but here we are. And Johan and the team at Royal African Discoveries, I can't tell you how grateful we are for the opportunity to bring you this virtual game drive and show you where we are and what a great place we've been. We're really grateful for the support. As you know, you were with us. You were one of the first guys to come and stay here a few months ago. So you've been here at Shamwari and you've got to see and experience the new product. We vowed it wasn't going to be a sales pitch, but I do feel obliged to tell you where we are. Where I'm standing is actually on the balcony of the old manor house of Longley Manor. For those of you who know Shamwari, you may remember that pink building. Fortunately, it's not pink anymore. All the pink is gone. But I'm standing on the balcony of one of the manor house suites, and in the background, you can see the game reserve. We've had some rain, quite a generous amount of rain in the last few months. So the reserve is looking beautiful. And when I'm finished talking, I'm going to hand over to my friend and colleague, Andrew, who's our head ranger, and his team. We've got Andrew on foot, and then we've got 3 game rangers in separate vehicles all over the reserve. They've been driving around for the past few hours trying to find some really cool sightings and wildlife. I won't steal any of his thunder. I'll rather let him tell you what they found, but they've got some really cool stuff in store for you. But back to where I'm standing. As I mentioned, this is the original flagship lodge of Shamwari. As Johan was saying, over the last 2 years, we've spent a small fortune rebuilding this lodge. We did a big refurbishment at Eagles Crag. We did a big refurbishment at Riverdene Family Lodge, which is very much the lodge tailored towards kids. We've got an incredible kids adventure center there, and it's just next level. Those were old lodges that we refurbished, and then our new flagship lodge, which is undoubtedly our pride and our joy, is Sindile, which is our luxury tented camp, located about 20 minutes drive that way. And I'll show you when I'll flip the camera around and show you the general direction, but that's our new tented camp, and it's extraordinary. Longley Manor, together with Sindile, have literally only operated for 4 months. They opened in December, then it was January, February, March, and then lockdown. So that's what it is. But I have to say, the lodges and the properties are looking beautiful. I'm going to ask Richard just to pan around and I'll show you. This is the new facility. That's our new pool bar that we bought. In front here, you've got a massive swimming pool, which is an infinity pool that drops away. And in the background, you can see we've built a watering hole. It's got water in it. So almost every day you've got wildlife and a lot of game coming to the watering hole. So you can be sipping a gin and tonic, sitting in the pool and overlooking a watering hole. And then this building over here is the new dining room. So this is effectively the new Longley Manor. And I think that's all I really want to tell you. What I did do for you, and I think I got Peter and Johan a little bit jealous earlier, because what I've taken the liberty of doing is setting up our Moby bar. Now, this over here is also one of our pride and joys. What we do, and this is one of the best experiences for guests, what we do whenever we do a game drive, obviously one of the highlights of a game drive in the afternoon is to have a sundowner drink stop. So whether it's small groups or clients, often our guests ask us to set this up if there's a special occasion. But this is one of our signature experiences at the New Shamwari. We'll set up our Moby bar, our gin bar in the middle of nowhere, on top of a mountain or in a valley, somewhere just spectacular. And like many in South Africa, craft gin is the new buzzword and the new thing. So we're very proud. I've only got a few selected bottles in here, but we offer something like up to 35 different craft gins. So this glass is unfortunately empty because we did mix a gin and tonic earlier, but it's already gone. So when I switch over to Andrew, I'm going to mix another one. But I just thought I'd show you this because if I come back up again, it is the most beautiful day. It's probably now 3:15. So we having been on lockdown for the last 2 months. Joe Clutty, our CEO, was up here earlier, and he took one look at this gin bar, and he said to Richard, "Please, man, you got to organize some ice because we actually couldn't take it anymore. We had to just tuck in and pour ourselves a gin and tonic and celebrate the moment." So, without further ado, guys, I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to Shamwari. Again, thank Peter and Johan for the opportunity to talk to you and bring you Shamwari in a different way. And I have to say, Johan, and if I get a bit emotional when I say this, that's okay. The last 2 months have been difficult. It's been difficult for us. It's been difficult for the travel industry, both in South Africa and overseas. And we've been trying to think out the box to find out ways in which we can keep ourselves sane, keep ourselves positive, and make sure that when lockdown ends and when the travel industry reopens again, that you guys and our customers, we're raring to go. So for us to have the opportunity to do these virtual experiences, show you a little bit of the lodges, show you the wildlife, and take you on a virtual tour around the reserve. If anything, it's been almost therapeutic for myself, for Andrew, and for his team, because it's renewed and kept a real strong sense of purpose around what we do and why we do it. And why we do that is very simply to bring people experiences. You know, we're very fortunate when you hear Andrew talk, we're very fortunate to work in a place like this because it's one of the most special places in the world. It really is. The landscape, the wildlife, the people, the communities who are suffering at the moment because we can't operate. We've got 350 staff who are sitting at home and don't have the opportunity to do what they do, and that's serve people. It's heartbreaking. So for us, Johan and Peter, again, I need to emphasize it. While we hope you enjoy it and your customers and clients all around the world enjoy it, for us, it's really provided a sense of purpose, and we welcome the opportunity. And at the end of these sessions, whether it lasts an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, we are so pumped because this is why we do it. We love bringing experiences to you, whether it's in person or whether it's like this, through a cell phone and through Zoom. But that's why we do it. So before I hand over to Andrew, I wanted to raise an empty glass and say thank you. Here's to the tourism industry. Here's to the work that we're all doing together. We've heard everyone saying that we're all in it together, and we are all in it together. and we're all going to get out of it together. And hopefully that by doing this, it'll make us stronger by the end of it. So without further ado, Andrew, I'd like to hand over to you to bring our friends and colleagues all over the world some extraordinary wildlife sightings. So thanks for your time. Andrew, over to you, my friend. Okay.
Right, can you guys hear me all right?
There you go. You're back, Andrew.
Right.
Perfect.
Fantastic. All right, Theo, thank you very much for those words, folks. It's awesome to be here this afternoon. Thank you very much for participating in this. Like Theo said, it gives us a chance to get out into the bush and do what we do. It has been some interesting and trying times, but the fact that we're out in the bush and we get the opportunity to show you what we are doing is it's just special for us. I think why we're doing this is twofold. Number one, it's for those of you who have been here previously, just to remind you a little bit and make you a little bit jealous. And then for those of you who still need to get here, we want to showcase how special this place is and make sure that you do end up coming here. So I've been on foot, myself and Jan, for the last probably about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours now, I think. I think for me, being on foot is a very special, therapeutic, holistic experience. You connect with nature in a far more realistic way than you do just driving around. Your senses are so supercharged because you have to listen to everything, you have to smell everything, and obviously you have to look. And if you look just over my shoulder there, I'm going to try and figure out the reverse camera. There's a little giraffe getting all curious and wants to see what I'm doing. So just to set the scene quickly, I'm a few hundred meters from Sandile on foot. I will show you the lodge while I'm walking. And I can see red hartebeest from here. There's a whole bunch of other animals. And we've probably got about 40 giraffe all around us, busy feeding at the moment. And for those of you who've ever seen giraffe before in person, they are fascinating creatures. Very curious creatures. The more that you ignore them, the closer they want to come and see. Why are you ignoring us? We're pretty interesting. If you're ignoring us, that must mean something else is pretty interesting there. We want to come see what it is. So as I've got my back turned to these guys, they're actually all coming closer. So I'm gonna sneak out now a little bit and turn the camera around and show you what I can see, and hopefully give you guys a good view. There's a guy out on the hill there. You can see Jan hiding in the bushes over there. I nearly walked into an elephant nearly walked into me yesterday when I was on foot for a little bit because I was so focused on the camera and filming another animal. There were a couple of elephants that snuck up on me, so I decided to bring Jan with today as a little bit of extra eyes and ears to help me out. Have a look at those giraffe, just busy staring at me. And as I walk, we take the focus away from the animals being the center of attention. We walk as if we're not interested in them. And because of our body language and our attitude towards animals on foot, they realize that we're not a threat. And it actually allows us to get very close. In some instances, this one over here that's peeking up just behind the tree over there, and that one over there. I'm about 30 meters away from these guys on foot, which is about the limit of how close I could get to them. And as I break out onto the plain, you can see there's another group. So this is an aggregation of giraffe. It's made up of males and females. It's not a family unit. They form these very, very loose aggregations where they come and go, and they're not really too phased on very, very close social units. Something like an elephant or a lion pride will be very stable, but giraffe tend to come and go as they feel. And then obviously there's one or two very, very big bulls in here. They're the dominant guys. They get the mating rights through fighting if there is a female in estrus. But it's the most incredible experience to be out here on foot. I've got a giraffe that side of me. I've got a whole bunch up on the hill that side coming out of the bushes to look at me now. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So to be on foot for me is something that Shamwari, it's another feather in our very extensive cap that we get to offer guests that a lot of other game reserves don't always get the chance to offer because of the specialist rules surrounding walking on foot. We're very fortunate that our guiding team is very well qualified, and most of our guides are able to walk. And it's something that we really encourage our guests to try. And obviously safety and ethics is something that we have top of our list. And I'm going to head a little bit closer towards it. You can see there's Sindile. Let me work on my zoom over there. But that is the view from Sindile Lodge as it looks out onto this unbelievable, beautiful plain over here. And look at all those giraffe. I'm not going to tell you what other animals I can see from here because my guys are out in the bush at the moment with a couple of those sightings. So what I'm going to do while I carry on walking and reposition myself, I'm going to hand you over to Gerard and let's see what Gerard has.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome again to Shamwari. As you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day out here. I'm making my way to the watering hole, hopefully to see what the animals are doing. Generally, on a hot, warm day, it's your best bet is heading towards the watering hole, seeing if there's any one of those animals trying to cool themselves down. Hopefully, we can get lucky. I've been on search for some elephants, preferably. Hopefully, we can find some, and we can get to share some information and knowledge about these beautiful animals. Beautiful out here today. Quite jealous that I cannot be on foot with Andrew, but each safari and each drive's got his own unique features to it that make it very unique, especially at Shamwari. As you can see here to our left, we've come across some water. There are a few signs, not so visible on the phone, but signs of some ellies and things that have been here throughout the day. And to my right, actually, we've just bumped into an individual. Looks like a fairly young one. Can everyone see it? Can everyone hear me?
Yep, all good.
All right. As you all can see, we've got a young male here, actually very interested, smelling us at this moment. Very cute and curious little guy. How's the visual there for you folks? Good?
Perfect.
Yeah,
It's
good,
perfect,
thanks.
Gerard. It's absolutely perfect. Guys, I'm just going to make a request, if I may. Sorry, Shelley and Gerard. I just wanted to ask if anyone's listening, if they can kindly just put their mute on, because that just helps so it doesn't jump around from screen to screen. So if everyone wouldn't mind just putting their mute on, that would be amazing. Thanks, guys.
All right, so this elephant's making his way back to the watering hole. As you can see, that typical behavior, the little head shake he just gave me, general a sign of that he's quite had enough of me coming close. So we won't push our luck. But elephants, being very intelligent, very social animals. What he's telling me now is basically that I should stay at this distance, respect his space, and he'll just carry on once he's happy and comfortable with my positioning. So with elephants, generally very social animals. This is a younger one. Often you think, why this poor guy's left alone? But just behind me, as we'll make our way around, the rest of the herd has just moved off from the watering hole. It's a pity we got here slightly a bit too late. Would have loved to join them in that little pool. But let's go see where mom and dad and them are. And we can get some better visual for you folks. So with Ellie's, what they do mostly during the day is they'll spend their time moving through the reserve, feeding. Probably one of the best lifestyles, according to me, is that they can feed for up to 20 hours a day, and that's what they have to do. And that's basically just to sustain that huge body what they've got, and be able to generate energy and protein from all this substance that we have on Shamwari. To our right, you'll see a few individuals scattered abroad. What I'm going to do is just make my way in there try and find you a better visual. Excuse for the little bumps. All right, let me just see. An absolutely wonderful day out here, nice and hot. As we get closer, you'll actually see some of the ellies got some of mud and dirt and dust sprayed all over them. And these are various ways that elephants will actually use to keep themselves cool. Very similar to us humans, we'll use moisturizers, or we'll use sunscreens and fans and whatnot to keep ourselves nice and cool and regulate our body temperature. Now, what elephants will do is basically use those ears that they've got, constantly flapping, cooling the body. And then you also can see with the individual to the right of me, it's got some darker patches on the body itself, and that's basically the mud that they've used this afternoon in order to regulate that temperature. So we've got a wonderful sighting in front of us. As you can see, very, very social. This is a large family grouping, and as you can see, there's a few youngsters amongst the herd. I'm not going to push the limits. You can see they are quite comfortable, hence they are feeding. Often a very, very good sign of any animal when they're feeding, shows that they're not too bothered with our presence. Is there any questions or things that we can you guys want to figure out or find out from elephants?
Gerard,
Yes, Theo.
I've got a joke to game rangers that I hope you're going to appreciate. Why does a waterback have a white ring around its butt?
I was told possibly to attract some company.
No, that's not right. It's because it's been sitting on its butt for the last 2 months on lockdown. That's why.
Waiting for some tourists.
Waiting for some tourists, exactly.
But Theo, that's quite irrelevant to what we are viewing, don't you think? I'm absolutely in awe here where I'm sitting currently. As you can see, these ellies are not even bothered with my presence, just enjoying the shrubs and the grasses. As you can see also the little flapping of the ears. It's not them waving at us, it's them cooling themselves down. But absolutely beautiful. These animals are very, very intelligent, extremely social, and they are in ways quite similar to human when it comes to family orientating and as well as protecting young ones. So with elephants, you actually see that the larger herd has mostly been maintained by a matriarch, which is the oldest female. And how it works is it serves as a royal bloodline, where her daughter will then become the next in line to share that knowledge that the matriarch will pass over, and that knowledge is extremely crucial and important to the survival and the success of these elephant herds. One thing that's very similar is with humans and elephants is they both reach puberty or sexual maturity at around 13 years. And as my parents did, as soon as I reached, they sent me off to boarding school. And same what these elephants do with the boys is they actually separate the older 13-year-old males from the herd in order to avoid this hormonal confrontation that could possibly be happening. How's the visual on the young ones? You all can see the little youngsters amongst them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a little bit closer for you folks. Theo, how's the visual there? Good. We are absolutely surrounded by elephants right now. Now, as you can see, these elephants are all got their trunks and using it to basically pluck out shrubs and grasses from the dirt. One amazing fact about these animals is that the elephants have got up to 40,000 muscles, what they've got in that trunk, and that's more than we have in our entire human body. An absolutely unique muscle or equipment, I would say, that they've got to their use, which is extremely important for their success as well. Often you'll see these youngsters with these trunks just dangling around, not quite sure or familiar of how to use it or at that young age, but the ones out here seem pretty well trained and pretty focused on their feeding habits. Any questions from any of you folks? Right, let me get, I want to point out this one individual. As you can see, there's two in front of me. They've got this slightest brown stain on the body. All right, so typical display of that head shake. Their tusks are barely just showing, and a good indication.
Gerard, I think you're on mute, my friend. You just need to take yourself off mute. You're back on. You're back on. Yeah. All good.
Sorry about that, folks. Any questions about the?
Do you want to do it? I'm going to. No, man, come and talk. I need to ask you guys something.
I'm sorry, Theo. I'm getting an audio over. Can everyone hear me now?
Yep, all good.
Right. So with Ellie's, they generally live for quite a long time. With elephants, they'll generally have a lifespan of average between 60 to 65 years. What will happen is with Ellie's, when they reach around about 60 to 55, they basically lose their final set of teeth. So with elephants, they've got 6 sets of teeth throughout their lifetime, and roughly around their 50-year, 60-year lifespan, that's when those teeth will basically be completely worn down from continuously eating hardy materials. And sadly enough, that these elephants don't die of old age, but basically get to a point where they don't eat enough in order to sustain these large bodies, and basically die of starvation, which is it's quite sad if you think about how emotional and how intelligent these animals are, and how actually close-knit and
Gerard, we have
loving they are.
Gerard,
Yes,
we have a question. How many elephants are there approximately in the game reserve, and what's the male and female ratio?
All right, so Shamwari's got a very healthy population of elephants. So with the ratio, there are generally more females when it comes to males. That's purely because males will often compete for territories or even for dominance, so for mating rights. So with Ellie's, Shamwari's got, I would say, roughly around, I would say, it's difficult to give an exact number, but I would say roughly about 80 to 100 elephants spread out over the reserve, which is an incredible healthy population, and one of the unique aspects of Shamwari is being a private game reserve and having this huge number of game that we can support. One of the benefits that we have here at Shamwari is also this large property that we've been blessed with. Yeah, the elephants, they generally stick to more family groupings, so you'll actually see more of the females currently around with young males spread between them. The older bulls will mostly be following behind the herd, and they refer to them as stranglers, generally keeping their distance because they know what's best.
Thank you,
Rachel,
Gerard.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, man. Guys, I don't know if you can see, have a look at this beautiful view over here. So I'm still out on this plain. I walked across in front of Sindile. There's a couple of very big animals over there. I'm not going to get too close to them. It looks like four rhinos over there. We've got all those giraffe and zebra out over there. And there's another large group of waterbuck and kudu there. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand you over to Jean, and Jean will show you what he's managed to get to. Oh, hang on, sorry, I'm gonna send you over to Timothy first. Timothy, you there?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be in the world. I hope you're enjoying this lovely day, whether it's in the couch or with your friends or family or in bed or out here in the bush with us. One day we hope you can join us and see what we can see here. Lovely family of buffalo. And as Kenneth was saying, you know, it was quite warm today. So thermoregulation tends to be quite a main focus for animals in terms of conservation of their energy. We've managed to catch these buffalo after almost tracking them for an hour in and out of the bush. So we're taking advantage of the fact that they've stopped for a moment, catching their breath. And see the ones just in front of us, completely caked in mud. And as that is evaporating, it tends to keep them much cooler. For pests and other parasites, mosquitoes and ticks can't really penetrate through that thick layer of mud now. And for those that are already trapped within them, we'll slowly have a nice exfoliating mud bath, kind of helping them ease off the buffaloes. This one looking at us with their eyes half closed, just ruminating a little bit, is also one of the greatest ways for energy conservation for your hooved animals. Storing food that they have maybe have eaten early on this morning when there was still a lot of moisture available on their grasses. Now, your buffaloes, they eat grass, they are grazers, and they don't compete with the white rhino that we may have, or the zebras that are also bulk grazers, because of the height of the grass that they go for. And we can't see that now. What we can see instead is them slowly starting to move off. And as they do, you'll see a lot of these scratches left behind. Once the mud is dried, it's nice and exfoliating. So they may actually find a thorny tree or a rock or a stump of some sort, just to give themselves a good scratch. You can actually just see on their sides and on their rumps. This is quite a spectacular sighting in that buffalo don't usually play this well with others. May not be that advertised as lions and elephants and everything like that may get all of the attention, but buffaloes are rather dangerous. Like I said, I know it doesn't seem like it now because we're on their good books, we're on their good side, but at any given moment, what makes them so dangerous is the fact that, unlike elephants that Gerard was mentioning, may give you a sign that they're a little bit sick of you, either just shaking their heads, flapping their ears. With lions and other cats, as we know, they'll show their teeth, flicking of the tail, growling. Buffalo, they don't really take that into consideration. They're not that kind. They will make up their mind, make up their decision, and not even tell you about it when they decide to charge. So the good thing about the animals here in Shamwari is that we like to give them their space. We don't like to let them feel pressured in any way. We never surround our animals. We always make sure they have ways to go, pathways that they can have a variety of ways that they can spend their day, as we all like. while they're still being this kind and showing us the good side, we're just going to take the opportunity to reposition, maybe get a little bit more light just on the other side of these trees.
Timothy, while you guys are repositioning there, I'm gonna I don't know in the distance over there if you can see, but there's a beautiful big female white rhino with a very, very tiny baby. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to talk because she will pick up on me, and obviously the maternal instinct with females to protect babies is very strong, especially in rhinos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best leopard impersonation and leopard crawl to these rhino and see if I can get you guys a good visual. But I'm actually not going to talk because I don't want to give my position away. Obviously with walking, it can be dangerous, and we obviously, as much as possible, try and make sure the safety of the animals and the guests is our first consideration. So I'm going to go a little bit closer, but I'm not going to talk.
Okay.
While Andrew is leopard crawling, we'll find them soon back.
Shelley, are you still with us?
Yes, I am letting more people in.
Okay. Do you maybe should we go to while Andrew's leopard crawling? Should we go to Gerard if he's still on those elephants? I can't see where the other guys are, but maybe while Andrew's doing his thing, we can go to one of the other guys.
To Gerard. Perfect.
Yeah.
Hey guys, as you can see, these elephants are slowly heading away from us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get closer to them before they head into the thicket. Everyone's still got a good visual of them.
Yeah, we can see them perfectly. I'm just worried. I think Andrew may have accidentally turned his video off. So, Andrew, if you're still with us, can you just give us a visual or a voice that you're still there?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. There we go. Perfect.
So I'm probably about 45 meters from these guys now. You see that little youngster? Absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to be able to get too much closer than this because she'll pick up on this. It's absolutely dead quiet. There's not a breath of wind. So her sense of smell will be fantastic, and her sense of hearing will be even better. So this is the part where I can't overstay my welcome. That little baby, older than about 8 weeks old. Mother is slightly changing angle and moving towards me. So within the next couple of seconds, I'm going to make like a tree in leaf. That's my corny ranger joke for the day done.
Andrew, if you don't mind, Sishle would like to show you guys what we've got this side.
Hey everyone, I hope you are well. We actually have spent some time this afternoon trying to track lions, and we actually eventually managed to find them, but they're actually in a very awkward position at the moment. We actually located the whole pride, which consists of about 10 lions. Where they are actually, it's just one of the sub-adults. We actually lost sight of the females. It looks like they were actually hunting. Okay, so in the position that we are actually at, we try to actually not to get too close to them, to not to ruin their actually hunting time. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and actually see if we can show you where they are. It's a bit of a long distance at the moment. Yeah, but we actually were just to try and actually not to get too close to them. I'm not sure if you can actually see them. They're on the slope there.
Can you guys see them?
Yep.
Yeah, we can absolutely see them.
Okay, so we're gonna try actually one of my old tricks, you know, using binoculars, to actually try and actually zoom into where they actually sitting. Okay, so it's the first time we've tried. Just bear with us. Can you guys see them? Yeah, I can just see. All right, we can just see just a few of them. Some of them are actually on the other side of the bush, which from our angle we actually can't really view them nicely. But what they're basically doing, they're actually looking over us into the open plains down on this side, where there's different prey species, which the female actually trying to get. Okay, although we actually see lions do well in actually some of the things.
Try and do this way around rather.
Okay, now, what we're actually looking at, what I've shown you guys is actually the top adult. Okay, it looks like the female actually left them behind whilst I'm hunting. At the moment, even though they do have hunting activity, they actually not really better hunters, you know, at the moment. So the female, what we'll do to actually hunt, if they do kill something, they won't actually bring the kill into them, but they will actually, one of them will actually guide the kill, and the other one will actually go and actually fetch the sub-adult. Okay, they about almost a year and a half years old, at the age of about 2 years, and when they actually almost independent, the female will actually remain with the pride, whereas the males actually will at that stage get kicked out of the pride. So we actually we can only go as this far to them unfortunately. I do apologize for that. But probably as the hunting evolves, they might actually come get in a position where we can actually view them, but we're going to try and actually not really intervene too much to interrupt them whilst hunting.
So Sishle, if I can just jump in there quickly and just bounce off of what you've said. I think what you have said is so vitally important, that we do give the animals space. We put their requirements first, which is why our animals are so relaxed. We don't ever box them in. We're very aware of how many vehicles approach sightings at a time, and we put the animals' needs first. In other words, are we disturbing them? Lions don't have the best success rate, sometimes only 20% success rate. So for every 10 attempts they make at a kill and chasing something, they'll only be successful about 2 of those times. Sometimes it's even less than that. And the amount of energy output that it takes to try and attempt a kill, to sneak up on animals is hugely draining for the animals. So the fact that when animals are hunting, we take a back seat. We allow nature to take its place, and we only observe without interfering. So the fact that we don't want to disturb a kill just to push that extra couple of meters further, I think that's an important thing what we stand for, conservation and the well-being of the animals. And it ensures us that when we look after a sighting today, the animals are going to be relaxed, that they're going to be around and make themselves visible tomorrow. So that's also an important thing. So thank you, Sishle.
Great, Andrew. Thanks. We just got a few that actually become more active now. It looks like they might actually come down the slope. Maybe not. Yeah, they just kind of set down. Okay. So where they're actually sitting, they're actually looking over the females, which are actually the one that actually initiating the hunting. If the females do catch something, like I said, they will actually quickly go and actually fetch them to where the kill is. Yeah. And this is just amazing. The cubs actually, or the sub-adults, starting to get more active now. They're busy playing. That's what actually lions are, and very, 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 social. They will actually spend a lot of time actually grooming each other, which actually helps you to reinforce the family bond. He's sitting and watching us now. You can actually, it's so quiet that you can actually hear birds and a lot of other things that actually are actually around us. Okay, you hear birds actually alarm calling because there's actually alarms around the area. Yeah, I can't really tell you how quiet it is, in where we are, and it's so quiet that it actually even, I would say, it hurts your ears. How quiet it is. It's actually been a very, very, I would say, successful afternoon. I was, not really hoping to quickly find these lions, but where we saw them originally, they actually moved to that area. So we're actually wondering where they were, and obviously they actually got up and started hunting. Yeah, we actually at the moment trying to actually listen out some alarm calling around, because we actually lost a visual of the females. They are within around us, but we're not really sure exactly where they are. Just by sitting and listening to alarm calls, you get things like birds, some animals actually alarm call as they see lions, because they actually deemed as danger. And yeah.
Shelley, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Theo.
Ten.
Okay, so we're back with Andrew.
So Shelley, just quickly bouncing off of what Sishle was saying there about how they'd been out earlier trying to find these lions and then seen them and had the most amazing sighting, and then they went back a little bit later to try and locate them again, and they'd moved off, and now they're busy hunting and we can't get to them. And I think that's also an important thing about Shamwari, is that we're merely here to observe. We've got the most amazing, incredible conservation success stories here. It's a very dynamic, evolving property. We've always got exciting stuff on the go. And from a guiding perspective, it's phenomenal. You never have the opportunity to get bored because we're in such a dynamic system. You have to put effort in to get out there and find these amazing sightings. The densities here are phenomenal. You're always experiencing something, from the smaller stuff all the way up to the big elephants. There's always something going on. But the animals have free range. They go where they want. There's no fences, there's no camps, it's free movement. So it's not a zoo. We have to work hard. We have to put in the effort. The guides work incredibly hard for the guests. And a lot of the time it's teamwork with the guests. It's the most incredible relationships and bonds start forming on these game drives where the guides and the guests are working hard to actually make these sightings materialize. And, especially fantastic when you have return clients who you build up a relationship after years and years of them returning time and time again. It turns into this fantastic experience when you're out in the bush and working together with your guests and taking advice from your guests and telling your guests, do you think we should go left or right? And they tell you, no, left. And it works out that you end up finding these amazing sightings. And a little bit out of breath here. I'm actually quite fit, but it's warm. It's beautiful being out here today. We've actually done quite a nice. I must check my watch later. We've probably done a good couple of kilometer walk.
Andrew, you're not doing enough walking at the moment.
Shelley, I'm doing more running than walking, but that's a whole different story as well. But yeah, so I mean, just absolutely amazing that we get to experience what we do on a daily basis out here. And again, as I've come out onto this lookout point around us over here, I've got giraffe. I'm actually going to flip this camera around shortly. I'm going to move in that direction. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 8 giraffe have now walked. They are 50, 60 meters in front of Sindile Lodge at the watering hole, busy drinking from the watering hole. And I just wish we had a lodge full of tourists that would be able to experience what we can now. So we really, really appreciate the opportunity of what we've been able to do this afternoon. I'm just going to flip my camera around quickly. Unfortunately, I'm a bit far, and to run there now, then I'm going to be even more out of breath. But as I flip that around there, don't know if you're able to see, there's all the giraffe in front of Sindile, and there's Sindile there, literally right in front of the lodge. There's all those beautiful giraffe. Okay, so Timothy, I'm going to hand over to you quickly. I'm going to say thank you very much to everyone this afternoon for allowing us to do what we do. So Timothy, over to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Just pulling into this area with 2 lovely white rhinos that have just been getting along very nicely with one another. You can see a few of the cuts and scars just below the eye of the one on the left there. And as Andrew was saying, and as Sishle was mentioning, we tend to give our animals a lot of their space, and as we also get along with each other, and all of you who will come and visit us, us guides and the guests, that we have a very good rapport. The same goes for the animals with one another. The elephants get along very well with the rhinos and buffalo. Buffalo aren't too far from here. They were just on the other side of that hill. So this area is a communally shared area. But for the time being today, it was quite hot, so a lot of things have just been resting, reclining. As you hear, the lions are starting to get active, trying to hunt. The elephants are going to the watering hole. These guys have been sleeping the whole day. So they're going to try and get their last little bit of nutrients. Even as the sun drops and it gets cooler, more moisture will then become available for them in the grasses that they're eating. So guys, as they were moving off, we're just going to turn around again. Are there any other questions for the rhinos or the buffalo or generally anything? I'm too bothered by
We finally got good visual of the rhino.
now there's just a little bit of the gap between the two of them, but there's nothing, no bad blood between them at all. As you can see, this one on the left is actually paying a little bit more attention to us every so now and again, as it's just in grass with a little bit of the top and bottom lip and pulling it from side to side. Those ears also just swing like a Newton's cradle, focusing on a few things behind and in front at the same time. Even though they are known as white rhinos, you may notice a few different color variations on these two in particular. Some red, some darker brown. It's actually all just from the different kinds of mud that they roll in, whether it has very rich iron or if it's very white and calcified. But generally your black and white rhinos could have the same grayish overall color. It is only the white rhino that you'll see out in the open like this, grazing, eating grass. All other species of rhino, including the black, generally loves very thick areas, browsing from trees. Now, because your rhinos are only using their gums and their lips to eat the grass, they get a completely different layer to that of the buffalo. We use their tongues. So the buffalo's tongues, cow's tongues, very, very strong. If any of you around Christmas time like eating cow tongue, it tends to be a very well-worked organ or delicacy. Whereas rhinos, the first time I remember seeing rhinos was actually, didn't see them at all. It was completely dark in the middle of the night, and we could hear that crunching noise. And that's all we felt. We felt the presence of something this big. We didn't see them, they didn't see us, but they definitely knew we were there. All is well with the world as the sun sets on a beautiful Thursday here in sunny South Africa. Just picking up the head every once in a while. If they hear anything from a distance, stopping what they're doing just to reassert themselves. Say, no, that was just an impala running, or that was just the sound of a springbok walking over branches. And then going back to it. Right, there's the perfect image of two rhinos just coming face to face. The little way that they greet each other every now and then is with horning. It's almost like a handshake of sorts. Now, with every rhino, the horn is going to be different. And the reason for this is because it grows very slowly, almost at a rate of 5 centimeters every year. It's different for males and for females. Just for us, with the gents, I'm sure you can agree, we don't have to cut our nails too often. We don't have to cut our hair too often. In fact, I've cut my nails just not so long ago. Next time I need to do it again, probably a week or so from now. Ladies, I'm not sure if you can agree with me. A lot more maintenance and care needs to be taken for your nails because of how quick they grow. But because they are so fast in growing, they don't end up being as thick as the males. So as we take care of our hair and nails, so do the rhinos. And every rhino's horn has been shaped to the length and shape of their choice, just by rubbing it in mud, rubbing it then on a tree or even each other.
Jason, could you give all the participants an explanation between a white and a black rhino, please?
Well, all right. For the white rhinos that we are seeing here in front of us, you'll commonly find your white rhinos with their heads very low down into the ground and a very wide lip and an incredibly long primary horn. That's the first horn you see closest to the ground. That's much, much longer. Now, the secondary horn that white rhinos have aren't as long, but it's just there in case that primary horn breaks off. Now, with black rhinos, who you'll very rarely find out in the open like this, being always covered by dense bushes and vegetation, both of their horns grow to the same length. And this is so that there's reinforcement, it doesn't break as it pushes branches aside. And even for their diets, it changes their physiology. White rhinos are the only species to eat grass, so they have this, the trapezium, their muscles on their neck that connects their neck to the base of their shoulder is almost so extended, it gives them this third mound where we have our shoulders and your hip that gives you the two mounds in the curve of your spine. White rhinos have 3 very pronounced bumps in the back of their spine. Black rhinos you'll find in the bushes, so they have very dexterous head, very dexterous lip, and has a very deep saddle as well. If we could find any for you, we would love to have shown you some examples. White rhinos tend to play a little bit better with us. So when you get the chance to come and visit us here in Shamwari, we would love to show you black rhinos, go through what we call a little bit of bundu bashing in the thicket to try and find them. But because these white rhinos are out in the open, so exposed, you can see very clearly the long-legged large sitting right behind them. Can all of you see? Can all of you see nicely?
Yeah, we're with you. I think someone's taking us on a tour around their house at the moment. There we go. We're back with you.
All right. Well, as you can see there, we also like to take you on a little tour of our house. Very first lodge that was opened up. You can see that at the back there, as Theo was mentioning, and extending it quite a nice distance. Can everyone see them? So that was the original house of this land that was first constructed in the early 1900s, finished around 1960 by Sir William Folds. And a lot of settlers who arrived from this area, a lot of the land left behind is still being used by their families and by friends who work very close with them. So the main ethos of this area in Eastern Cape, I find personally, tends to be very much alive. Agriculture and conservation go very well hand in hand here. So a lot of the space around us that has been converted back into its natural original area. You can see the grass coming back to grow in nicely, few small bits of trees and everything like that. Very, very lovely place to be.
Well, that is an awesome sighting of the white rhino. Thank you so much for finding it for us. We are now going to head back to Longley Manor to Theo, just to say a couple of words and thanks. And I hope everyone enjoyed their safari with Shamwari this afternoon.
Cool, thanks, Shelley. I've actually left Longley Manor, and apologies that we broke up just now. I was driving from one lodge to another and then saw a whole lot of warthogs, which I tried to bring you. I thought that was going to be my contribution to your virtual game drive, but unfortunately I cut us off. But I'm now back out of the vehicle, and just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you all again for joining us. Special thanks to Andrew and his team. Andrew, it's incredible, mate. Thank you so much for bringing us all the sightings. Sittler and the rest of the team, the lions, the rhinos, the elephants, Gerard. We're very, very grateful. And last but not least, another special thanks to Peter and to Johan. Guys, we are indebted to you for the opportunity. Thank you for speak to your clients and friends and guests, and hopefully we will see you all when lockdown ends, the airlines start flying, our doors are open, we dust off all of the lodges, and we get back to doing what we love and what we do best, and that's serve you and your guests and bring you the most amazing experiences. So once again, on behalf of Andrew, on behalf of Joe and Shelley and the whole team, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing a wonderful afternoon with us. We are really indebted. So travel safely and bon voyage. And we hope we brought you a few of our own Royal African discoveries today. Thanks to Andrew and the team.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you very
Theo.
much, Theo.
Really appreciate
Cheers,
it.
guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. Lots of love.
Enjoyed it.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, guys. Now.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
to everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Hope
guys.
you enjoyed
Be
this
safe.
lovely
All the
afternoon.
Thank you,
best.
sir. Go and have a gin and tonic.
Well, for sure, definitely.
Cool.
Cheers. Bye-bye all. Thanks a lot.
Bye, guys.
Guys,
Everybody.
bye-bye. Be
Thanks,
safe.
guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
So what? Oh, 2,575. But then in a year, you're gonna be on 4,045.
Thanks, Shelley.
Only a pleasure. Lovely seeing you again.
Good to see you as well. Yeah, that was really awesome, eh? I mean, that was sure. We had some very good sightings there. It was really cool.
Fantastic. I've recorded it for you. I'm going to actually stop the recording now. Just give me 2 seconds.